This is Joy News, independent, fearless, and credible, and we apologize for the late start of the pulse this Thursday afternoon because we are continuing with our breaking story that came from Parliament about the death of the Member of Parliament for Ejisu, Dr. John Kumah. And we are picking reaction. We'll take you back to Parliament very soon to bring you more reaction from the House and also take you to the Ejisu constituency where my colleagues at Love FM, they're already there, and they'll be telling us how, they will tell us the mood in Ejisu and what the constituents are saying about the demise of Dr. John Kumah, the Member of Parliament for the area, and until his demise, a Deputy Finance Minister. Another breaking story we are watching is the NDC National Executive Committee meeting where the party is set to announce the running mate for the election 2024. Early this morning, the flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, met with the council of the party at the residence of the chairman of the council of elders of the party, Ejisu Mahama, where we are told that he presented the name of his running mate to the council. The council deliberated upon it, and they are now back at the headquarters of the NDC, where a larger body, that's the National Executive Committee of the party, will now have to now consider the name and then announce it. That announcement will follow with a news conference, and we are watching that closely. As soon as they are ready, we'll take you live to the headquarters of the NDC. But before we do that, we are still continuing with our breaking story here this afternoon, the death of Dr. John Kumah, the Member of Parliament for Ejisu, and until his demise, a Deputy Finance Minister. Kwaku Asante is a parliamentary correspondent, and Kwaku, I can understand the mood in the House right now, very somber. What more can you tell us?
Kwaku, I can understand the mood right now. What more can you tell us?
Really, the mood had been somber right from the morning today when members of parliament discussed the death of some of their former colleagues who had passed on, and MPs used that opportunity to speak about what they believe should be MPs taking care of themselves. In fact, that was the message of the Deputy Speaker, urging members of parliament to really take care of themselves. And there was discussing the death of one member of parliament who had served for more than 20 years, who had passed on, and then also the former Youth and Sports Minister who had also passed on recently. And while they were discussing this, the Speaker of Parliament himself, who had not been around all this while, then comes in, and then once he's seated, the news begins filtering in Parliament. You can see the rest of Parliament caucusing because the news has started getting in, and even the press has started getting that information. Then the majority leadership whispers the words to the aide of the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagen, who goes to him, whispers this to him. He slumps back into his chair and is speechless for about 15 seconds, and the members of all quiet on the floor of the House. He then proceeds to tell members that because of certain news that had just come in, he was suspending sitting for about 10 minutes. He did suspend sitting for about 10 minutes, went in with leadership to do a meeting for about 15, 20 minutes. He came in, and the mood in the House was clear that MPs were not willing to do any more business because of the very tragic news that had come in of their own colleague, Member of Parliament, John Kumah, whose death had been officially filtering in the media, but officially, of course, the family yet to inform the Speaker of Parliament about this. Elton, we know that Deputy Finance Minister, Dr. John Kumah, has not been well for some time now. In fact, pictures have been going around of how he had lost so much weight, and questions had begun to go around about what exactly was happening. In fact, prior to him falling sick, his name had come up quite strongly as one of the persons who could potentially partner Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia into the 2024 election as his running mate, but those details had not been confirmed. But that news coming in today, as tragic as it is, forcing Parliament to adjourn sitting, it's been very difficult getting any member of Parliament to speak to the record about this news because of how this news have filtered in. And we've also had to respect the privacy of the family. We've also had to respect the privacy of members who are mourning.
So is it to say that officially the demise of Dr. John Kumah was not announced on the floor before the House adjourned?
The death has not officially been informed of to members of Parliament, because you will know that tradition, the Speaker of Parliament would have to wait for the family of the Honorable John Kumah to officially inform him of the death. He would then do so officially on the floor of the House, and then members of Parliament would take turns to comment on this. And so unofficially, almost all members of Parliament are now aware that they have been reduced to 274 and that a vacancy has been occasioned by the death of Honorable John Kumah. But officially, this has not been said on the floor because they would want to wait for the family to do the first thing of informing the House officially about this person. This is the second time a sitting member of Parliament is passing on. You will recall the passing of the member of Parliament for Kumah. I mean, I'm talking in terms of the 8th Parliament.
Right.
And the member of Parliament for Kumah passed on. He was on the floor of the House the night prior to his passing on. And then that information also came in. There's been a by-election. He has been replaced. And now another member from the majority side, John Kumah, has been announced dead. And we expect that officially the family will confirm this to the nation, to the president, and to the Speaker of Parliament for onward information to MP. So the House had come to abrupt end. They had a number of business they had to do, including the conclusion of the State of the Nation Address debate. But because of this tragic news, Parliament could not continue doing any more business. They had to adjourn in honor of their fallen colleague, the Honorable Dr. John Kumah.
And you say that this news is so heavy on them that they are unable to make any comments as of now?
Yes, in fact, when we go out there, we try to talk to members of Parliament in terms of what exactly they have to say about this situation. Some of them pleading that, listen, this is an information that has just come in. We need confirmation officially to be able to speak to it. And it's culturally right in Ghanaian culture that you don't go ahead and speak about the death of someone if officially haven't been informed of this. And so MPs on both sides, really a bipartisan effort telling you that this is not a time to talk about this. A lot of them taking their time to be able to take this all in. Their colleague John Kumah, one of the very few members of Parliament who is not confrontational. He is almost always having friends on either side of the aisle. He was thrust into the limelight in the debates around the A-Levy when he made comments about Ghana going to the IMF or not, and both political parties have seized on it to make political banters out of it. But it's not one that endangered any division on the floor. He's equally liked on both sides of the aisle. And of course, rumors have been coming in as to what exactly might have caused this. But this is not a time to speculate. The members of Parliament say they want the family to first communicate what exactly might have happened, and then they can make some comments about it. There were some scheduled press conferences. All of them have been rescheduled now so that MPs can take all these in, try and give the family the privacy they need.
Right, thank you very much. Koko Asante is our parliamentary correspondent, and we'll go back to him as and when it is necessary. But the trending news this afternoon, or the breaking news this afternoon, is a reported death of the Member of Parliament for Ejisu in the Ashanti region and a former Deputy Finance Minister, Dr. John Kumah. Now, let me take you to the Ejisu constituency where John Kumah represented the constituency in Parliament, and Anabachi Yadom of Lab FM joins me via Zoom. Anabachi, so what is the mood in the Ejisu township?
Well, Elton, a very sad mood here at the Ejisu constituency. Later, we will be joining the family, but for now, we have been told that they have all moved out and they are heading to Accra. We came here at the party head office, where we know that a number of people have planned the party office to act, and the party administrators and executives, if what they are hearing is true. A very sad mood for some constituents here engaged earlier. Some of them who do not want to believe the news out there. Because they are waiting for the family to officially come out to confirm whether what they are hearing is true or not. But then among the constituents, Elton, I must say that it is a very sad mood. Some of them are inside the party office engaging the party administrator, who is also in a very sad mood. I was speaking to him not long ago, and also waiting for the family of the Deputy Finance Minister, John Kumah, to also come out to clarify as to whether or not he is indeed dead or is alive or whatever the case may be. And so clearly, it is a sad scene among the constituents of Ejisu as we got here not long ago.
And now, what exactly are they saying beyond the fact that they are waiting to hear officially the demise of their Member of Parliament?
Well, Elton, I spoke to the administrator, not long ago. For him, he does not really want to believe the news out there. He says that he spoke to the member of parliament not long ago, and so coming to hear of this shocking news is something that he cannot really bear, and so he would want to wait for the family to come out officially to confirm if what is out there is true or not. And so they do not really want to come out clear on the matter as they await the family of John Kumah to come out with an official statement.
And then, if I may ask, I mean, what has been his contribution to the constituency? I remember that over the weekend when news broke that the Ejisu Senior High Technical School has some of its roof taken off due to, the heavy rains. Over the weekend, we heard that he had donated 120,000 Ghana cedis to help the school, put back the roof on. But what has been his contribution to the constituency?
Well, I would say if you know John Kumah and then the Ejisu constituency so well, you know that one member of parliament they really adore. Not long ago when we heard of the issue of Ejisu Senior High School, his donation to the school was very swift. His intervention led to some immediate responses that really did help the school. And also when you come into the constituency, this party office is one major thing that he contributed to. Some even say that he touches the land and builds it himself. And so this factor, which is the Ejisu constituency party office of the NPP, is something that he really does contribute to. And so when the news broke, majority of the constituents had to rush here because anytime John Kumah is in his constituency, he is upstairs inside his office here at the constituency office. And also when it comes to the development of the Ejisu constituency, he has done so much. When it comes to some interventions, he has really helped the constituency. And so when we look at John Kumah and the Ejisu constituency, it is something that we cannot really talk of because he has really done a lot for the constituency.
All right, so for now they are waiting to hear officially
from the family of the Member of Parliament, John Kumah.
All right, thank you, Nanabachi. We'll come back to you on this breaking story about the death of the Member of Parliament for Ejisu in the Ashanti region, Dr. John Kumah, a Deputy Finance Minister. The news is that he died today. It's unclear what caused the death, but I'm sure that in the minutes, hours to follow, we'll do that. Another breaking news we are following this afternoon is the official announcement coming from the NDC headquarters, the National Executive Committee of the party. They are about to meet. They're about to hold a news conference. The flag bearer of the party, John Mahama, met the council early this morning and presented the name of his running mate to the council. The council deliberated on it, but the final decision and final announcement to that effect will be made by the National Executive Committee of the party, and that body is currently meeting at the headquarters of the NDC, where the name is to be announced, to be followed by a news conference. Emefa Pau and some of my colleagues are already stationed there. We'll take you live to the NDC headquarters as well, as and when the party is ready to do so. Also, the Electoral Commission this morning also met with representatives from the various political parties at an IPAC meeting to now firm up the timetable for the 2024 elections. We have details of that as well, and we'll be speaking to the parties as to what they make of it. But let me just bring in, we'll go back to the John Kumah story. We'll take you live to his residence here in Accra. We'll also be speaking to the family as well. But as we also focus on the other breaking story, John Dramani Mahama has submitted his nominee for running mate to the National Executive Council of the NDC. He first submitted his nominee to the Council of Elders for deliberation and approval before presenting the name to the National Executive Council. The party has described the move as a critical step in the party's preparation towards the 2024 general elections. National Chairman Johnson Esiedun Ketia has been speaking to my colleague Blazer Soga.
Still in the process of consultation. So we are going to the final stage, that is at the party office. So
are you able to explain to us what happened today? What kind of meeting we are seeing now?
No,
that is going on. Not necessarily the decision.
Consultation with the Council of Elders. Then we will consult the National Executive Committee. It is after the National Executive Committee meeting that we would have concluded the consultations, and we will have something definite to tell the media. I've just told you what has happened. We are not responsible for anything that anybody says. So after this afternoon's meeting, we will address the press and convey to you what our conclusion is.
Party unity is key. Are you sure that you'll be able to maintain a united front before, during, and after the exercise?
Yeah, we are very sure about that. So let us meet after the NEC meeting at the party office. We are not at the stage of communicating to the grassroots yet because we are in the middle of a process. You cannot be declaring election results midway of the elections. So when we finish, we will have a message for them.
Now, Joyce Montari, who is aide to John Mahama, hopes the choice will be Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman.
Well, so far, I think that everything has been cordial. Very candid opinions expressed. I think practically all the elders of our party were present, and of course, the party chairman and the general secretary and many others that I hadn't even seen in a while. I'm sure that mostly, you know, that these consultations can go on for days on end. What happened today is actually also instructive, that the consultations have so far gone on very, very well. There was really no acrimony. Maybe just debates about what and how, largely the processes. I'm sure that each and every person has left the room knowing very well that this is exactly the nominee that John Mahama has in mind. They've all pledged their support. They've pledged to do their very best for the flag bearer and his nominee. And you know that in the next few hours, we'll be going to the party headquarters where he will be presenting the nominee to the National Executive Committee of the National Democratic Congress.
So a name has been submitted. Is that what you're confirming?
Well, the name will finally be announced at about 2:30, latest 3 p.m. But yes, a few names have actually been submitted, discussed. Some resumes have also been shared and discussed. So I'm sure in the next 2 hours, by all means, a huge announcement will be made.
Tomorrow is International Women's Day. Does it have anything to do with what's happening now?
Well, you know, personally, I hope that it will. I pray that it will, and I hope that it does. But I'm sure that for now, we can all wait till 2 p.m. when eventually the nominee will be unveiled to the general public and the name will actually be submitted through a formal announcement from the party chairman.
The chairperson of the party speaking a while ago and saying that it's not the end of the road and that you've not concluded on the nominee. Is that to suggest that you're not unified when it comes to the front you have as the NDC on who exactly should be the running mate?
We are all at them. That the responsibility of the nomination of a running mate is largely the preserve of the flag bearer at any given time and leader of the party in consultation with various arms of the party. The consultation as far as the party elders are concerned is what has taken place. The next leg will be at 2 p.m. at the headquarters where SIM will be done with the National Executive Committee of the party.
So who is the chosen one, and is the party ready now to deliver the name to the Republic? Now let me take you live to the NDC headquarters where my colleague Emefa Apau is standing by. Emefa, is the name out yet?
So, Elton, I'm sure we are all waiting for that name that you're all looking for. We are currently live at the NDC headquarters, and the National Executive Committee is currently locked upstairs. I'm currently in the lobby of the NDC headquarters, and they are locked upstairs starting that meeting. I can tell you on authority that the flag bearer of the NDC is in there. The chairman of the NDC is in there, General Asedun Ketia. We have the general secretary of the party also in there, and they've all started that meeting. Before the meeting, we got to interact with a number of people in terms of the bigwigs of the party, in terms of what they are expecting and what that choice will be. Really, the name Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman came on tops. Even though there have been other names, most of them are saying that is the choicest candidate, and whoever it is that the NDC goes with, that's what they will all go with. So currently, that's what we know, and they tell us that after that meeting, they will get to know whether it's indeed Professor Nana Jane or it will be any other candidate, or whether there will be a surprise candidate. That's what it looks like as we speak from the NDC headquarters. I'm also itching like the way you are itching as well to know who it is. But when we got here, interestingly, everybody kept on saying it's Obanwa or it is Mami Odende, they say. But that's what it is. But I've been interacting with very close aides of the former president, John Dramani Mahama, and they say it is their wish that it will be Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. But whether NEC will either approve or disapprove, it remains to be seen. But as it stands now, that's what we know, that most people are saying that it will be Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. I interacted earlier with the minority leader of parliament, Dr. Ato Forsin, also the deputy whip, Governs Kwame Agboja. I also interacted with Alex Segbefia. I did same with the NDC communications director, which is Kakwe Samwa. I also did same with the director of legal. We spoke to him as well, my colleague Ken and I. We interacted with him. And they all tell you that whoever it is that comes on top is that candidate that they will all go with. But as to whether it will be Professor Nana Jane, they will tell you that, yeah, that is what they want, but as to whether that's the name that has been put out, we'll get to know. We are trying to pick snippets of what exactly is going on in that meeting. The last I checked, the General Secretary, no, that's the chairman of the party, General Sedun Ketia, had called the meeting to order. And after that, they gave the address in terms of what the agenda will be for that meeting. Then the flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, will be called upon to put that name or the names that he puts before the Council of Elders, before the National Executive Committee, which comprises chairmen of the various regions. That's the 16 regions. They are there, 7 of them, 7 reps each from the 16 regions. And the National Executive, they have the chairman of the party, they have the General Secretary, the youth, leader, the youth wing leader of the party, and all of them, they are in the meeting, and then they will get to deliberate whether it is a disapproval or approval of that name or names. But from what you know, the former president put a tweet out there earlier today, and he did not state whether it's nominees, but mentioned that it's a nominee. So that's what we know so far. So we don't know if it is 2 names or 1 name, but if we go by what flag bearer John Mahama himself put out, it looks like it's just 1 name that will be deliberated upon. But trust us to get the details for you as and when we get it, just before that announcement is made. But we are assured that it will be just within an hour. They tell us that they are sure that it won't go beyond an hour or 2, but really by the close of an hour, we should be able to get who exactly that name will be. But as I'm speaking to you, I'm hearing, hints behind me saying that it is the woman. People saying, at least those gathered here in front, party supporters are all saying it's the woman. But maybe I can interact with him briefly since he keeps on whispering to me that it's the woman. Hello, and thank you so much for joining us here on Joy News.
Thank you so much too.
Which constituency are you coming from? Where are you representing?
Domia Bravo constituency. You get Accra here.
You are an executive there?
Yeah, former constituency communication officer. We love our mommy, and we all have decided that the president, incoming president, will nominate her. Ghanaians are waiting for her, so we believe that we are here because of the woman and nobody else but the woman.
You're so sure that is the woman?
No,
which woman, by the way, are you talking about?
Yeah, we are talking about Prof. Jane Nana Opoku. You know, the woman is an affable woman. We love her. She's so experienced. You know, she did so well when she was the vice chancellor of UCC. I'm proud member of, old student of UCC. I know what she can do and what she's doing. And the 4 years that she has been working with the ex-president, incoming president, she has learned a lot. And we have to give the women chance. And I believe in women so much. And those who know me know that I love women because they are hardworking, they are very honest. And we believe that Jane, our prof, the only prof, she will be announced this afternoon.
Definitely are an interested party in this matter.
Vice President 2025, Vice President of Ghana.
Let me interact with some more party members who have gathered here. Hello, thank you so much for joining us here on Joy News. Your name and where you are coming from?
My name is Haj Kupsin.
Which constituency are you representing?
I'm from Tamale.
Okay, and I'm sure you're here.
I'm representing Tamale. Yendi is my constituency.
Yendi. Okay, so you are supposed to be part of the NEC meeting, isn't it?
Certainly. I'm a member of the operations committee, FEC operations committee.
Okay. Yeah. So what's the expectation? What's going on now at the NEC meeting?
Currently, the old man is here. Our flag bearer is here. He's here to tell us to submit to us the name and the person who we think he will partner him for us to win the 2024 election. Inshallah. And as you can see the outside there, you see that someone is sitting in the car and everybody is within that car.
Who is that? Who is in that car?
Their mother.
So I must update you that as we speak, you can hear some drumming going on in the background. A car has just parked, and many supporters have gathered around that vehicle. And you've just heard the man telling me from Yendi that it's your mother. Who is your mother?
Professor.
She is in the vehicle as we speak.
Yes.
Waiting to be outdoored.
I think to be announced. Outdooring will be later. Yeah. Waiting to be announced.
Right after the NEC meeting, when the name is put out, then she would come in. Is that what you're saying?
I think they will signal her to calm down. But for now, meetings, she's not part of NEC. So she has to stay away. If they need her, they will signal her to come top.
So she's the only name that has been put before NEC as we speak.
I think if there are so many names and one person is stopping, I think NEC unanimously have to go with that name.
How many names were put before NEC?
This one, you have to talk to the General Secretary.
But you're a member of NEC, so maybe you can tell us, apart from Professor Nana Jane, which other name have come up?
There are other qualified names, which I can't mention. I'm sorry, but yeah.
Does it include Dr. Kwabnadu?
Certainly, I can't tell.
How about Julius Debra?
I can't tell.
Okay, well, thank you so much. That's a member of he's from Yendi joining us, and I may interact with a few more, and we'll go outside shortly so you can see that car that many people have gathered around in terms of who it is that is in that vehicle. You've been hearing from the Yendi constituent telling us that it is Professor Nana Jane in that vehicle waiting to be outdoored. Let's hear more from some more members of the party who are here, who have gathered here at the party headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. Your name, sir, and where you're coming.
This morning when I saw you, this afternoon you have changed.
Have I? We keep changing, don't we? Really? Maybe you introduce yourself to us briefly.
My name is Richard Manorobi. You are my very good friend, even though you have not spoken to me before.
Really? So which constituency are you representing?
Yeah.
Good to see you. All the way from Oti region. Welcome.
I have been Accra. I was with Joy Prime with you today, this morning. Yes.
Really? What's happening? What's the expectation?
Just waiting for to adore the former education minister, former Vice Chancellor of University of UCC, Professor Jenano Pokwa, who have an astute knowledge and experience in the educational sector, who is going to lead. He's going to lead the head of economic management team and the police council. This is the vice president that is coming in December 7, 2025. That will not lie. He's not a mate. He's going to lead by making the build a robust economy, making the Ghana works again. And that's where we are. We are just happy. We are just waiting for essentially the President of the Republic of Ghana. That's why I came with my original communication officer.
All right, thanks so much. So far, it's very clear that, in fact, we have now landed on the best choice for this country. So far, the selection of Prof. Nana Opoku Agyemang will reflect the will of the people. And we know we are going to make impact in the 2024 election.
Look forward to that. Thank you so much, and we are waiting for that meeting.
We will need you at the presidency to work for us.
You have already started making appointments.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a clear win.
I love my work at Joy News. Thank you. I'll have to decline politely.
Communication.
Right. So we are still coming to you live from the NDC headquarters, where the party in the next few minutes will hold a news conference to announce the choice of running mate to partner the flag bearer John Dramani Mahama for the December 7th general elections. And the breaking news we are getting from that meeting is that the former president, John Dramani Mahama, presented the name of Professor Jane Nana Opoku Agyemang as his choice for the role of running mate. And his choice was duly and overwhelmingly accepted by the National Executive Council of the NDC. Now, what is left is for the NEC to now, speak to the media and announce this nomination. But the breaking news, you are hearing it here first, is that the choice of Professor Jane Nana Opoku Agyemang, proposed by flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has been accepted by the NEC of the NDC. That is the breaking news this afternoon, overwhelmingly accepted by the National Executive Council. Is for them to announce this name to the media. This is the news here on your election headquarters.
And once that announcement is made,
live to the headquarters of the NDC as Jane Opoku-Agyeman is.
A case whether indeed she has been picked, but as it stands now, that's what we know. Her vehicle has parked and Professor Nana Jane is in the vehicle. Maybe we can go close and see if we can try and get something from Professor Nana Jane, and that's what it is. The security will not allow as we speak, but I can tell you for sure that she's in the vehicle as we speak, parked at the NDC headquarters with her team waiting for that invitation from NEC. Then she can go into a NEC to get that final approval. So that's where we are as we speak here on Joy News. So Elton, if you can see the footages, you can see Professor Nana Jane in the vehicle wearing her African print. I can see with the neckline having a lace around it, interacting with her aide in the vehicle, and yes, she just come in. Yes. We can see her in the vehicle waiting for that final announcement amidst the jubilation happening at the NDC headquarters. I'm sure Seth was zooming. You can see her picking something from her bag in anticipation, in a very pensive mood, waiting patiently for what will happen. I can see her picking something from her bag as we speak. Yeah, she's picking a mint. She just picked a mint from her bag just to freshen her breath before that meeting. So that's where we are. Amidst the jubilation, there's a drumming and dancing, a bit of chaos right here at the car park, awaiting. So we've been told that she's about to get down, but no, they've been told to wait. So that the tensions will be calm a bit. She's just about to get out of the vehicle. I told you it will be like less than an hour meeting, and that's what it is looking like. They are trying to push everybody out of the center before she will be brought out. But as we speak, it looks like the time is here. The announcement has been made, and so they are bringing Professor Nana Jane out. They are bringing her out to join the NEC meeting. That announcement has been made, so you can see for sure. With her presence here, we can tell for sure that indeed she is the name. She is the running mate, or she will be the running mate for flag bearer John Dramani Mahama. And that NEC meeting is upstairs, and her vehicle is parked down here and all ready for her to enter. As we speak, we have our men stationed right here on the forecourt of the NDC headquarters, and the door has been opened again. Her vehicle door has been opened, and she's stepping out. She's stepping out. She's stepping out. No, we are part. We are part. We are part of it. We are part of it. We are part. And she just stepped out. She just stepped out, and it's going to be a bit chaotic at this point. And Professor Nana Jane has just stepped out of the vehicle, entering the NEC meeting. So it's official. It appears that Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman will be the flag bearer, the running mate for Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman will be the running mate for John Dramani Mahama. And you can tell how chaotic the situation is. But we are with you, moving all the way for that to happen. Rather chaotic scenes right here. Easy. Rather chaotic scenes. We are moving in with the team. We are moving in with the team to bring you all that is happening in terms of Professor Nana Jane being brought in. Professor Nana Jane is being brought in now. Amidst all the heavy security. Amidst all the heavy security. Amidst all the heavy security. Really. Amidst all the heavy security, we are also pushing in and also enter, and we are in, and we are in, and Professor Nana Jane is just about entering, and she is entering now. She is entering now to meet the NEC now, and that's where we are. We're live on the Joy News channel, right here on Pulse, and it's official. Professor Nana Jane will be the running mate for John Dramani Mahama. And she has just entered amidst the heavy security presence. I may have lost my cameraman at this point, but I can tell you that that's what is happening. They have been locked out. What's happening? And colleague secretary will join us, but as you can see, Professor Nana Jane is has joined the NEC meeting for her final approval. I'll try and get my cameraman to join me now so we can still see some live pictures from the NDC headquarters for that NEC meeting. Rather chaotic, it's a push and pull situation, but we've got it covered for you right here on the Joy News channel. And so it's official. We can tell you for a fact. I found my cameraman at this point. I miss all the chaos. He's just joined me. And indeed, the name that we've all been waiting for is Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. Her presence tells us that she is now going to be confirmed. And I'm telling you on authority now that the confirmation has come. I'll get the details now. The confirmation has come. I just see a statement from the NDC General Secretary. NDC names Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman as John Mahama's running mate for 2024 presidential campaign. And I have that statement right here. It says the National Democratic Congress proudly announces the selection of Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman as the running mate to the party flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, for the 2024 presidential elections. Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman is a distinguished academic and leader renowned for her dedication to education and public service. The statement concludes by saying the NDC is excited to present such a formidable team to lead the party's ticket, with John Mahama and Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman at the forefront. The NDC is poised to introduce a bold and progressive vision for the future of Ghana. That statement signed by Fifi Fiavi Kwete, General Secretary, NDC. So that's the confirmation we all need, and that statement is out. I'm sure we will be on my Joy Online shortly, but that's the confirmation we have. It has just come. The confirmation that we need has just come right here on the Joy News channel. So from what we are seeing, we are just waiting for the official announcement now, and NEC will conclude shortly, and we'll bring you that official announcement from the NDC. But as we speak, we have that statement coming to you from the NDC headquarters. Confirmation has come amidst all the jubilation here at the NDC headquarters. My colleague Ken is with me, and indeed, it's been quite a chaotic situation. I must say, I have never been pushed as much as I've been pushed today, but indeed, it's expected. What would you say?
I was really feeling for you when they were, pushing you here and there. But, I mean, the biggest open secret that we've known for a very long time is finally out, as my colleague MF mentioned. Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman is once again going to be the running mate of former President John Dramani Mahama. This will be the second time. The first time was in 2020. And earlier when we spoke to some of the big wigs in the party, they did indicate that they want somebody who can partner John Dramani Mahama. They believe that Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman is the right candidate to partner John Dramani Mahama. So the biggest open secret that we've known for a very long time is finally out. Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, former Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, former Minister of Education, is now the running mate of John Dramani Mahama. And then this will be the second time that she's been chosen. She was first chosen in 2020. And she, so far, is the only female to be chosen by either the MPP or the NDC to be a running mate for them. So, I mean, all eyes will be on the New Patriotic Party. Who are they going to choose? Some names have come up. We do not know yet, but the information that we're getting, or the confirmation that we've gotten, is that Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, who entered this building a few minutes ago, is the she's going to be the running mate of John Dramani Mahama once again. I mean, when we were speaking to some of the big wigs in the party in the morning, it appeared that they knew who it was. but they really didn't want to give it out. Now the cat is out of the bag.
So much out of the bag. Really, they maintain that this candidate or the person that would have been chosen will be the choice of the NDC, in spite of all the concerns that has been raised in terms of what she brings to the table and whether indeed it is a long-term plan and it is in the best interest of the party. At least we've been hearing from the minority leader, the deputy minority whip. We've been hearing from the party bigwigs, and all they say is that choice will be the choice of the NDC, and that they are all super excited about who it was. And indeed, they were strong in their minds that it was Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, just that they were waiting for that confirmation. And we were picking information, at least from what we were, the noise and the sights and sounds we were picking from here, all pointed to the fact that it was Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. And indeed, we all knew that was the moment we were all waiting for was going to come. And indeed, just when we saw that her vehicle had moved in and she was in that vehicle, that was enough confirmation to tell that indeed she is the choice. But really, it looks like now it's just procedural. She would have to appear before NEC and just to maybe give assurances to NEC that indeed she is the right choice and that what exactly she brings to the ticket. The outdooring, we are told, will be done at another date, which we are hoping will be communicated. But as we speak, we've seen that official communication from the NDC. That statement is out. It looks like it was signed way before this particular meeting because we had a deliberation of national executives upstairs where ahead, it's a step on top of where the NEC meeting is currently being held, where we had the General Secretary, the chairman, we had Joshua Alabi, who was a former campaign chair for the flag bearer. We don't know if he will still maintain him as a flag bearer, as in the campaign chairman. They were all in the closed door meeting before the NEC, deliberating on it and what exactly the communication will be after the Council of Elders met this morning. So it's now a matter of time. Just in a few minutes, I'm sure the media will be called up for that communication to be done in terms of the official communication and why that choice.
And it appears she has an overwhelming support from the grassroots, at least from all the people who have gathered here. They are in full support of her partnering John Dramani Mahama. They believe that she's the best choice to partner the former president, John Dramani Mahama, heading into the elections in December. Earlier, in the Ashanti region, a group of, party supporters did indicate that they did not want Professor Jainan Opoku-Agyeman to partner John Dramani Mahama. They believe that other candidates were better placed to partner John Dramani Mahama than Professor Jainan Opoku-Agyeman. But it is out now. She is the woman who has been chosen to partner former President John Dramani Mahama. So we're still in the lobby of the headquarters of the National Democratic Congress, awaiting the official confirmation. We've seen that they're in a closed-door meeting, although they've released an official statement that indeed they have conferred onto her the nomination. Right.
Modena Kogan is currently addressing and telling the media to move in now. So at least we'll just gather around and then move in, and we'll take a quick break and then maybe bring you some of the interactions we've had earlier. Then we can move in to the conference center and bring you that official communication. So you're still here on the Joy News channel. We are moving in now to the meeting for that official announcement to be made. Then we can get all the details for you in spite of the official communication that has been made. So you're still listening and watching Joy News. Ken, maybe we can give updates.
Yes. Exactly. So we are climbing the stairs to witness what...
This is your election headquarters, and the breaking news this afternoon is that Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman is the running mate for the NDC in December 2024 general election. We will take you back to the NDC headquarters to hear from the national chairman of the party, of course, from the flag bearer John Dramani Mahama. But why Jane Opoku? I'm sure Evans Spencer has some answers for me, and he's head of our political others. Evans, again, why Jane and why the central region again?
We have to just drill this down to the numbers. It's a numbers game. Who brings you the most numbers? And we've been trying to dig into when Jainan Opoku-Agyeman has been the running mate the last time compared to the other previous times we've had a running mate for the NDC from the central region. What has been the comparison? The NDC has a very interesting history where they tend to almost instinctively go to the central region when they're looking for a running mate, all the way back to the late Professor Mills, right? And then you come to Parkway Mr. Arthur,
right,
two terms. He represented that region on the ticket of the party as a running mate to John Dramani Mahama. And then John Dramani Mahama himself continues the tradition by appointing Nana Opoku-Agyeman the last time in 2020. So there's room to compare, okay, for those of us who have been wondering, so why is he maintaining her? Because the argument has been, but she didn't really do well for the party.
Exactly.
In terms of the votes, in terms of the numbers, because her primary constituency is the central region. And the central region is important because traditionally, we've known it to be a swing region, a bellwether region. With the exception of 2020, the central region has consistently told us who the eventual winner of the national elections will be, but that changed in 2020. But let's go back a bit. And on the screen here, you see, Elton, the story of Professor Mills and Pakwesi Mr. Arthur and Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman on your screens there. That should tell you a story. You want to isolate this middle part and just focus on 1996. You focus on 2012, 2016, and 2020. Now, Mills, in that particular region, when it comes to the presidential performance, we are saying presidential performance. We are not suggesting that he was the face on the ballot. But there's a reason why the running mates are chosen from whichever part of the country. The success of the ticket is also his success. It's the failure of the ticket is your failure. There's a reason why when you look at the northern region, for example, Bawumia is credited for the swing nature of that place in terms of the ability to flip it for the MPP. And the same with Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman. Some people who criticize her say, when you look at the performance in the central region for the NDC, she didn't do enough. But you go back to 1996 and you see that 55.20% is what Professor Atta Mills brought to the ticket. And people credit him for that because that's his home region. If you compare that, for example, to Pakwesi Mr. Atta, who was just at 52.5%, he set a record in terms of those running mates for the party from the central region. I'm talking about the late president. Then you also come to 2016. They dipped significantly with Pakwesi Mr. Arthur on the ticket as a running mate, significantly, from 52% to 43.40%. Then in comes, obviously, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, who manages in that particular elections last year, helping John Dramani Mahama climb up to 45.90%. Now, if you look at that trajectory, presidential-wise, you say, well, she brought some momentum to the ticket. Because from the 2016, if you compare those two elections, from 2016 of a significant dip, and this was the lowest they've gone to in the central region in 2016. If you take out all the elections from 1996, it was the second lowest they've been. I mean, the lowest they've been in that particular region in 2004, right? So this was a significant low in 2016. And then you have Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman's time in 2020 where they begin to climb back up. 2 percentage point increase. And that is the momentum on the side of the opposition party. So at the presidential level, if you're really looking at where they've come from in 2016 to 2020, you are right to say that John Mahama, in looking at the numbers presidentially, is looking at momentum on his side with her on the ticket compared to where they were in 2016. And so that could be an argument to maintain her. If we are climbing up, as you see the line here doing so, if we are climbing up, as you see here, why do you want to reverse that particular trend? You want to continue on that trend. And that possibly explains the reason why we've seen John Mahama keeping her. But that is the presidential. Let's do the comparison between MPP and NDC in terms of what is happening. Again, look at Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman in this picture here. You see how from 2016 she closes the gap? She closes that gap a bit more. And that is why you see that line beginning to converge, dragging the MPP down whilst the NDC line grows. Again, pure numbers tell you that if you're calculating this and looking at numbers, so Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman had actually increased your fortunes in the central region with her on the ticket. That is just what the numbers tell us. Closing that gap there was important. John Mahama possibly looked at this and says, momentum on my side, I want to keep her. Maybe this margin there closes even further in the central region at the presidential level, and we can overtake the MPP there. But I don't want to introduce an entirely new face, because that will also now become an area where it's unpredictable. At least now you have a known quantity. A known quantity in Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman with momentum on her side in the central region to assist you. But let's look at the parliamentary, Elton. The parliamentary story is the strongest one for her, because in 2016, it was a bloody outcome for the NDC in the central region parliamentary-wise. They lost 19 of the seats there to the MPP. And MPP secured 19 of that. They only managed to pick up 4 seats in the central region. That is a significant defeat there when it comes to the parliamentary numbers, considering that in 2012, they were holding on to 16 seats. So this is a story that John Mahama was looking at. And then in comes Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman in 2020. And what happens? They flip that script on its head. They move from 19 down to 13 up. Right? That tells you the story. 19 down to 13 up. From that position, you look at it and you ask yourself, well, if you really want to credit the running mate coming from her own constituency, and I'm talking the constituency and operationalizing that to mean the region, these numbers should be numbers that should count in assessing her suitability for the ticket for 2024. And if you look at it, my argument is it is about momentum. If you can flip this with her on the ticket in the central region where she hails from 19 down to 13 up, that is one that you can pitch. And possibly today, before the Council of Elders, before the National Executive Committee, people will ask the question, show us the numbers. And these numbers speak for itself, Elton.
Right. So, another key question is, it's always been a north-south ticket, regardless of whichever way you look at it. Either the presidential candidate is from the south, the running mate is from the north, or vice versa. Question really is, why the central region? Why has the NDC always taken this particular slot to the central region? Why not the other regions? Why not, for example, the Volta region, which is reputed to be the World Bank of the NDC? Why the central region all the time?
But you raise a very important point, and one of the answers to that, obviously, Elton, is because of central region's own architecture as a bellwether region, a region that determines and predicts the outcome of the presidential race almost all the time, with the exception of 2020, which I insist is an outlier. I believe very strongly that this year the central region will return to type in terms of its swing nature, ability to tell you who is going to win the national elections. And that is why they keep going there for the MPP. And they changed when, of course, we're looking at so for the NDC, either they have a presidential candidate from the central region or a running mate from the central region. So the times when they haven't gone there is when they've had John Evans and Tamils there, and of course, he himself is from there, so they went to somebody from the north. But for me, that will be one of the reasons why they keep going to the central region, right? Has it always been the case that when they've been there, it has actually helped them electorally in terms of the votes? Not entirely. Because as you see on your screens here, I want to go back to the presidential story. As you see on your screen there, yeah, they had Parkway said Mr. Arthur, and they lost by a historic margin in 2016. So it didn't quite pan out. But that, again, did not stop them from going back there, Elton. That's the valid question you asked. Going back there to Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, maybe they were estimating that they still need a particular region on their side. And they've been very consistent with that, right? And again, if you go back to even Mills' own story, he was on the ticket in 1996, and they won. Of course, that time Rawlings was a very strong, presidential candidate himself, the president at the time, and on the ticket, so he brought a lot to bear. So the party is looking at definitely the swing, capabilities and architecture of the central region in making that decision. We wait to see if that pans out again in 2020. How well she does in that region on the ticket now with JM bringing the vote from the central region to the party. We have 4 regions we know as swing, Greater Accra, Central. We also have the situation of Western region as swing regions. And yeah, so if that's the argument, why aren't they going to the Western region, for example, because it's also in the south? Right. Why aren't they going why are they staying in the Greater Accra region because it's in the south? It's a very interesting question indeed, and the party needs to explain that apart from the subject of its swing nature, it's very hard to see why they keep going there. And has it served them right? Well, it served them right in terms of votes under Professor Mills in 1996, as you see on your screens here. It served them well, again, in 2012, but it didn't serve them at all properly in 2016. It was a poor showing there. You come to 2020, they begin to climb back up on the back of maintaining Nana Opoku-Agyeman. But again, Elting, let's consider this. You've had for the NDC a president, a vice president first, and then subsequently becomes the president who dies whilst he's in office. Okay. And then you come to Pakwesi Mr. Atta, who shortly after the party lost power also dies, right? And then you have to replace him with somebody. There's a sense in which a party is also considering that history, that tragic history of people that they've nominated either as their presidential candidates or as their running mates who die, right? Either whilst in office or shortly after they've left power. And you want to go back to the region again and say, we acknowledge that. Parties in Ghana tend to reward, one, the families of those who lose, key stalwarts. I take an example of the minister for, the MP for Ifanteman, whose husband died. A case also for the MPP in Kumah. And then, of course, Ayawaso was Wagon. There's a long tradition of parties saying true to either the spouses of the people who lose power, but also the region and the constituencies themselves. And I believe that may have influenced that decision also. To have two strong people, either as a presidential candidate themselves, the president himself, and the vice presidential material who die, it's a very strong case to be made. Going back there to show the people that, yes, we're loyal to you, and will come. But the question is, will the people reward them?
But again, Evans, the figures may play to her advantage. But in terms of her maturity politically, will you say that she's ready for the game? I mean, in 2016, a lot of people will say that the reason why the MPP won overwhelmingly was the Bawumia factor. Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, her weakness as identified by her opponents, the fact that, she was not able to take on the MPP as they wanted her to. Looking at the track record of Bawumia, 4 years on, will you say that she's matured onto the game and is ready to take on?
That is the biggest actually sales, Elting. I haven't seen that over the period. And as we know, when the current vice president, who obviously is a presidential candidate for the NPP, emerged, also, remember, he also was not as vocal, was not as assertive when he was president in 2008. And then on the back of the 2012 elections, when they went to the Supreme Court, he came to his own. He sort of, significantly matured as a politician. Over the period, though, you can't say the same for Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, Prof. You can't say that. From 2020 to 2024, I haven't seen her own her own stage. I haven't seen her take on the opponents in the way that we saw a Bawumia, for example, do. So in terms of that political maturity and coming to her own, you can't say that. Still, if, for example, you hold a vice presidential debate, right now, we don't know who the Bawumia is going to choose. But you can bet that individual will be a formidable candidate, considering all the names that we know. Can she hold her own, for example, in the debate? Right? Of course she can. She's an academic, right? But in terms of the political maneuvering, the assertiveness politically, and to wheel and deal on the stage and to take and give back, we haven't seen that. And that definitely is a weakness, right? That definitely is a weakness. Does that appeal to those who want something different? Maybe, right? People are accustomed to the way politics is done and the way you should carry yourself about and be able to throw mud and take mud. She wouldn't do that, we know. That's not what she offers. So would she, for example, appeal to the middle class floating voter who doesn't want that? Maybe. But that is definitely one that the party will have to work on. They don't have enough time, and she's been maintained, as we know. I don't see that changing between now and December. John Mahama will have to do a lot more of the heavy lifting together with the others when it comes to campaigning on the field.
We'll be taking you back to the NDC's headquarters. We're waiting for that signal, for that news conference, and we shall bring it live to you here on Joy News. This is indeed your election headquarters, and you have to stay with us because we've got every angle of the story covered for you. Now, Evans, the other issue is a slogan that the MPP they've been propagating, and they use the word Dadanwa, meaning we know John Mahama, we know Jane Opoku-Agyeman. How do they lift themselves off this tag? I mean, that are now to suggest that there's nothing new coming from these individuals. How do they lift themselves off this tag and present, to Ghanaians credibility, one, people that can be trusted to deliver? How do they shake themselves off that tag, which is suggesting that they have nothing new to offer?
Well, that for me again is another challenge, because you wanted to refresh. If you wanted to refresh the ticket, then you can't do much about John Dramani Mahama because the party wants him. They've maintained him. But you could have done something about the running mate to refresh the ticket. But what they've done is to simply say, well, we are coming back with what we have. That plays into the hands of the opponents, your main contenders in the MPP, which the slogan they began to throw about there. Your question is how they do it. Well, it's going to be a challenge. Either Nana Opoku-Agyeman grows out of her skin and becomes a dominant force on the campaign trail, which I don't see that happening between now and December, or John Mahama himself finds a way to give us a certain energy. And by the way, what they have though is the 8-year curse on your side, right? In other words, and the current economic circumstances on your side, right? So, and as we've seen in the second terms, anytime you get to the 8th year, what tends to happen is incumbent parties, their traditional base it's not as energized as what you find in the opposition party's base in terms of the energy and enthusiasm going to the polls. And that for me is what they can count on. Because historically, if you look at over the period, when you look at, say, the story of Rawlings himself in 2000, they lost out. They lost out in the runoff, as you know, primarily because, and in those years when you hit your eighth year and your second term is about to expire, your ability to galvanize your base as an incumbent is important, right? But it isn't the case that incumbent loses the elections. The incumbent actually loses the elections. The opposition party will simply have to galvanize their base to come to the play. Now, in 2000, you saw that story emerge where the NDC could not bring their people traditionally to the poll, but the MPP were galvanized at the base. Same story happens in 2008. Where the MPP had everything going for it, and the economy wasn't as bad as it is now, but they lost in the runoff. Why? Because as the incumbent party, they simply lost out in terms of getting their people to the polls. NDC will be counting on that happening this year. That their base is very energized now. Why? Because they've been in opposition for a while. The economy is also not helping, and nobody knows what's going to happen down the line in the next few months. If they are able to bring that crop of voters who are energized back to the polls, you begin to see, at least the history tells us, the MPP will struggle a bit to get their own supporting base back up, energized. Talk to your people that we know. I mean, NDC folks, MPP folks, traditional voters. There's a certain apathy, right? Which is what they need to galvanize that base and give them the fire to go back and vote. So how do you fix the problem of bringing two people who are known quantities? Can they galvanize that base? John Mahama maybe can, but can a running mate? And tonight is a night we are talking about Jane Opoku. Right. Can Jane Opoku galvanize that base? Let's go to Ashanti region. In the last couple of days, we've seen the press conference and some agitation there.
Yeah, rooting for Dr.
Dufour to be the running mate. And we know that the NDC needs the Ashanti region. They need to cross a certain percentage.
At least 30%.
At least 30%, but also pull the NPP back down to below 75% for them to win in the Ashanti region. And so for that to be happening there tells you that it may be isolated, but there are a few grumbling voices beginning to emerge on this particular subject. They will have to do something really significant to change that outcome. But I believe the 8-year challenge, but also the galvanizing of their base, which every 8 years shows that the opposition party can deliver that. But the challenge that the MPP also will face in bringing their people to the polls on December 7, the people who have now become apathetic, right, may play to the advantage. And the question is whether they can take advantage of that with Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman on the ticket.
And we're still waiting for that live signal from the NDC headquarters. Stay with us because we'll take you live to the NDC headquarters. Once we have the signal, the party is holding itself in readiness to hold a news conference to announce the choice of the running mate, even though officially they've communicated to the public that the party, the next settled on Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. So, Evans, again, the question is, how should they go about in terms of getting the rank and file of the party to rally behind this ticket? Because remember that before coming to this announcement, some folks in the Bono and Bono East and Ahafo regions, they may declare that John Mahama should select Eric Opoku, the member of parliament. And then in the voter region, to where after the name came up, the Asogli traditional authority issued a statement saying that the Agumafia has not instructed anybody to lobby on his behalf, but he will be willing to play any role in the advancement of the national cause. So clearly, you're looking at regional, positions taken on this matter. Now, John Mahama decided to go with the ticket he used in 2020. How do they get the rank and file to rally behind this ticket, regardless of their individual and regional, biases?
One is the extent of consultations done before this announcement. And we know that this isn't a surprise. We had known that John Mahama was going to maintain Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman for a while. And if we knew, many within the party would have known too, right? So that is a first. The extent of the consultation that has been done will be important. But also, we're going to be watching the chatter that will be emerging from the party itself, both party stalwarts and fringe elements in the party, what they'll be saying on the back of this, considering the quiet campaigning that was going on for others, as you mentioned, right? In terms of, they have to go back to the Volta region, right, and make a case for Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, right? But they have a general secretary now who comes from the Volta region, who himself is aligned already.
Right.
So you can deploy him, right? And as you've seen, he's been very enthusiastic about this announcement for a while. The individual, though, I think will be very important in all this will be the national chairman, Asiedu Nketia. And we knew that the last time he was interested.
Right.
Right? Where he stands on this will be very important because he is a grassroots person. And I've been talking about galvanizing the base. As I've said, historically, the opposition party approaching the second term of an incumbent seemed to have the energy among the ranks. But you still need more because, of course, you can't take it for granted. That is where you need the likes of the national chairman. How he goes to sell this ticket to the grassroots will be very important. And he will play a key role. I'm looking forward to see what he says about this ticket and the enthusiasm with which he says it. I mean, for me, the body language of the current national chairman, the Asiedu Nketia, will be very key. We know that after the general secretary, Fifi Kwete, he's been tweeting about this. He's very excited. You talk to him. He wants the ticket. So he can sell this to the folks in the Volta region, the stronghold of the party. But what will Asiedu Nketia do? His posture, his ability to sell this to the grassroots of the party will be key. But then also, a lot also depends on Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman herself. She needs to be released to go back in there. I can see that. The
yes, of
general
course.
secretary.
And we need to take you live to the NDC headquarters now.
Qualifications and experience, and we believe that she brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to be able to push the agenda of our party and to support the flag bearer of our party on the presidential ticket. Now, President Mahama expressed confidence in his running mate, and what he said is that he was proud to have Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman as the running mate on account of her integrity, her dedication, her vision for a better Ghana, and she being an ideal candidate to be able to help the party to be able to win this coming election. So we can only express our satisfaction and our happiness about this choice. We believe it's a choice that actually will gladden the heart of the people of Ghana, a choice that signals our readiness to go into battle. And we believe that the women of Ghana, the young people of Ghana, all the people of Ghana will rally behind His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the running mate, even as December 7 comes, in order for us to be able to deliver the necessary victory, not just for this party, but also for the country as a whole. So this is the very short announcement we want to make available to you, to let you know that finally it's out of the bag. You now have the name of the running mate to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. So NDC's tickets, the top and the second, are ready. In the coming weeks, we'll be moving ahead to make further announcement regarding other critical issues with our campaign, but we'll accordingly let you know when the time is ready. It should not be too long. Thank you very much.
All right, so yes.
Okay. Any other? Journalists only. You, number 2, number 3. So Agogan, help me here. You tell us your name, your media house, then you keep your question close. So you can come this way. Yeah, we are all ears.
My name is Abdul Haran Adam. I work with the GH1 TV and Sky. I'd like to find out from the General Secretary of the party or leadership of the party, what was the criteria for settling on Professor Nano as the running mate for the flag bearer of your party in the 2024 general elections?
Thank you.
How many names exactly were presented to the council, elders, and also to NEC for that consideration to be done? And then also, what was the case the flag bearer made for Professor Nana Jane Okwajima, for which reason NEC agreed to make her the running mate? And then also, the key question that people have been asking is that, is this choice of Professor Nana Jane Okwajima in the long-term interest of the NDC, or simply in the short-term interest of your candidates? Thank you.
Thank you. Is that all? Okay. Okay.
This is a quick one. Many are asking, my name is Craig Warren, Opposite News. Many are asking, or the opponent of the face in the 2024 general elections, like, what different change would she make to the ticket, knowing very well that she contested in 2020 and that really did not go the way you wanted.
Thank you very much. So, account stations, don't worry. When we are done, we will grant you interviews on the sidelines, so don't worry about that.
NDC amami kunima was here or kind of the grassroots now almost professor modern for 2020 or man said that na central region of pay a free ball and in which the people cast about age and then what they say which me a campaign the flag bearer and the person as professor na modern but which me am young and you ma kind more consider
all right, thank you. So GS, I'm sure GS will take some, and if the national chairman has to come in, he will. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. I think the questions are, one, what's the criteria? What are the criteria we use? What other names came up? Whether this is just a short-term interest of the party, and what difference will she make because she had been on the ticket in the previous year, I think, in the previous election, is that it? And then I think the final one is about grassroots having issues regarding what the age. I think that was the issue, whether she was popular enough in the age. Anyway, so let's try to take them one after the other. First and foremost, the criteria. According to our party's constitution, the flag bearer of the party makes that nomination and consults with the Council of Elders of the party and the National Executive Committee of the party. So that should be the number one. You cannot get through unless that process is gone through. That's the first one. Now, what criteria are we looking at? In fact, I'm thinking in the case of Professor Nana Jane, we've already gone through all the rigorous criteria in the past. So this is not like a new candidate who is now going to be examined for the first time. Effectively, she has gone through every rigorous examination, not just at the level of the party, but also at the level of the country. So you obviously see that to be an advantage. It's not like a new person who now we are going to be wondering what's going to be happening. Are there going to be some issues that we are not aware about? Are there some issues that the media is going to bring regarding maybe her level of integrity and stuff of that nature? So clearly, in terms of criteria, she obviously has met the highest possible criteria as far as the party is concerned and also as far as the country is concerned. But if you want a little more simple, we're talking about a running mate who obviously has got integrity. And I think there is no dispute about that. A running mate who, as opposed to another running mate that we have seen, is not going to be a completely discredited individual whose word cannot be trusted, who absolutely is an epitome of lies, of deception. It's going to be an epitome of honor. And that is critical, especially after 7 years of having seen the most discredited running mate in the history of our country. It's critical for us to make sure the person we are bringing matches that level in terms of supersedes that level of integrity, supersedes that level of credibility, has honor, has credibility, and can be trusted by the country. So in terms of that criteria, I would say her competence is not in doubt, her credibility is not in doubt, her character is not in doubt, and the people of Ghana clearly are looking for an individual that can be trusted. And their running mates represent that individual who clearly can be way more trusted than the flag bearer of our main opposition. That all of you know is just an epitome of complete lack of credibility. So that is the criteria that we look at. Her competence, her character, her capacity, her loyalty, not just to the flag bearer, but to the party and to the country. And she passes all that with flying colors. Names that were presented. The flag bearer is supposed to make an announcement to us in terms of the presentation of the name that he has chosen. And that actually is what happened today. So the flag bearer came, this is my choice. So then the Council of Elders listened to that. Opinions are therefore brought. At the end of the day, the Council of Elders then brings out their view as to that. On the back of that, we now move to the National Executive Committee and do exactly the same process. So it's one clear name that the flag bearer brought. There's really no need for any additional name at all. There's no ambiguity about it. He was clear in his mind, and I think the response from both the Council of Elders and the National Executive Committee shows there is clear unanimity as far as that name is concerned. So in terms of names, that is about it. Now, is this in the long-term interest of the party or short-term interest? I'm not really too sure about where exactly this question is coming from. We have an election to win, and we are going ahead to win that election. It's not a responsibility to be, we cannot divine into the future. You understand what I mean? You know exactly the very fleeting nature of life. I mean, many of you just heard the news, for example, of a young politician who just passed away, poison. You never know what life holds for tomorrow. So you focus on today. The most important thing ahead of us now is the election ahead of us, and we are focusing on that. What difference does she bring? I mean, the difference she brings is simple. That if the people of Ghana in 2020 were not even sure at the time about the level of credibility she has, I think over the last 4 years, in addition to the previous 4 of the MPP, they have seen the reason why it is critical to have an individual who, above all, can be trusted by the country. So the difference she brings is that she is absolutely somebody Ghana can trust. It's somebody who can step in when the president is not available and do that job knowing that she loves this country and she will do what is right. And that is what we have constantly done for this country. We always present individuals who clear the mark of integrity, the mark of competence. We can't say the same about our opponents, especially if you've seen the recent one that they have presented, both the driver and the mate. Absolute disaster, absolute liability, both of them. So regarding those four, I think those are the quick answers I can provide. Yeah.
We'll do that after. Okay. Your question is also in P, I suppose, right? Your question is also in P. I will address you later when we are done in P, so don't worry.
My name is I work with Top TV. I'd like to find out, as Vice President, automatically succeed the President when he's on council. Is the NDC ready to market 76-year-old?
Please. I think the General Secretary has already answered this question, so no need to belabor the point. He has told you the consideration that went into the selection of the running mate and why there is unanimity both at the level of the Council of Elders and the National Executive Committee on our running mate for the 2024 elections. And so, on that note, and with the permission of the National Chairman and the General Secretary, I would like to thank you very much for coming. We thank our hard-working chairmen for our 16 regions. All our 16 regional chairmen are here in their numbers. Please, a round of applause for them. A round of applause for them. So I'd like to thank members of FEC here, members of NEC. You're all duly acknowledged. And thank you, our friends in the media. The conversation will continue. We'll continue to engage you, and if you have any questions, our doors are always open. You can always reach out to us, and we'll be happy to share with you the official responses of the party. Oh, I'm told that all the 16 regional women organizations.
This is your election headquarters Joy News, so it's official. I mean, from every corner, it is official. And Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman is running mate to John Mahama. That's the NDC's ticket for election 2024, holding on December 7, 2024. It is John Mahama and Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. That's the NDC's ticket that they are presented to Ghanaians for election 2024. And where do we have John Mahama's response? He posted some few minutes ago, and we can go through that for you. He says, I'm proud to have Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman as my running mate. Her integrity, dedication, and vision for a better Ghana make her the ideal candidate to join me in leading our party to victory in the upcoming elections. And that is coming from John Dramani Mahama. Evans Mensah is still here with me. He's head of our political desk. And then before I bring you in, this is from John Mahama. And there is an acceptance statement also coming from Professor Jane Opoku-Agyeman. And she says, today, I received the news of my confirmed selection as a running mate to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, flag bearer, the leader of the NDC, and incoming President of the Republic of Ghana, with profound humility and great honor. It is worthy of note that this is the second time former President John Mahama has nominated me as his running mate. I express my eternal gratitude to him. By this choice, our flag bearer has demonstrated remarkable consistency, an unwavering commitment to inclusivity and innovation, and an inspiration belief in the Ghanaian woman. I wish to convey my heartfelt appreciation to the NDC, Council of Elders, the National Executive Committee, the rank and file of our party friends, well-wishers, and indeed all Ghanaians for the overwhelming support and endorsement that I have received today. I'm not one to take lightly the confidence reposed in me, neither am I oblivious of the national decay and widespread despondency in our beloved country. I express my absolute readiness and commitment to partner His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to serve the people of Ghana with integrity, dignity, truthfulness, hard work, and patriotism to reposition our dear country as a beacon of hope and opportunity. And she ends by saying, I have no doubt in my mind that we can count on His Excellency John Mahama to give us the selfless, incorruptible, visionary, inclusive leadership that Ghana urgently needs to transform the fortunes of Ghanaians. I shall give this noble task everything in me. And this is from Professor J. Nana Opoku Ajiman, running mate of the NDC. Evans, before I bring you in, just let me cross over to the other side. Professor Joshua Alabi joins me via Zoom. Prof, you welcome to the pulse here on Joy News. And it's all right, so we can listen to him now. Right, so we'll bring that to you pretty shortly. But Evans, I mean, everything is out of the bag now. We've heard from John Maham, we've heard from the professor herself. It's all well and good for NDC going forward in 2020. So what happens from this moment on?
Well, it's important just to go back to the statement that the presidential candidate himself just put out, that he's expecting that Jane Nana Opoku Ajiman will help him win the next elections. And I'm pretty sure we're waiting for a lot of reactions from our colleagues on the ground there. But that was important. That really is what it comes down to win the elections this year. And he believes Professor Jane Nana Opoku Ajiman will help him do that. And just been analyzing this on our screens, that Professor Jane Nana Opoku Ajiman brought momentum back to the ticket in 2020. And you see the graph here that tells a story. We've analyzed that already. But that here is the momentum and the climb that you see with this arrow that I'm just indicating there. And because of where they were in 2016, she got on the ticket and got them back on the right track. And John Mahama, and this is the presidential, by the way, John Mahama looks at that, although they lost the presidential in the central region to the current president, there was momentum back. Because I want to show you the next graph, which tells that story. Whereas, yes, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo won in the central region, and this is where she hails from. If she has a constituency, it is in the central region. And so you're going back to that constituency to look at what she can bring to the ticket. If you listen to what John Mahama is saying about fundamentally why she put her up as a running mate today, is because I want to win elections. The last time she was on the ticket, this is what panned out between the two main parties at the presidential level. Yes, John Mahama lost in the central region, but if you see the gap there had been closing. And I talk about momentum. Momentum is everything in politics. You're moving from one election to the next. You need to analyze very carefully. Where do you have momentum? Traditionally, in political strategy, if you identify momentum, you don't change the factors. You want to keep the factors the same.
Right. Evans, just 1 second. Let me take you back to the NDC headquarters, where my colleague Emefa is engaging the General Secretary of the party, Fifi Kwete.
The campaign teams actually will come out with a campaign structure and the team that will happen just after we finish the unveiling of the flag bearer of the running mate. They will come out with the campaign team. Then after that, we'll announce our campaign calendar as well.
What would you say was a charge to this new running mate in terms of what she would add to this particular campaign? I'm sure in the consideration as well, there was some form of expectation that the party also put before her in terms of what you're expecting her to do.
I mean, the same thing would expect of anyone who is supposed to be helping the flag bearer. Effectively work very hard, secure as much votes in the key demographics among women, among youth, especially students in the central region. Really bring that that addition that the flag bearer need not have in order for us to be able to work hard towards that. To be honest with you, what we saw in the year 2020, that experience, she definitely is going to do even better than we got in 2020. So we are pretty confident. Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it here for now. I'm sure we'll get to interact, and that's about it in terms of the official announcement of Professor Nana Jane Opoku Ajiman as the running mate for for John Dramani Mahama right here. I'm sure I'll bring in Ken whilst we wrap up from the NDC headquarters today, and the announcement has officially been made, and there's some expectations from the party, from the graphics and.
So obviously we'll have more reaction going forward. But Evans, you were concluding on what the party must do from this moment on.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, my point I was making has just been re-emphasized by the General Secretary, that if you look at her performance on the ticket, and you're looking at the ticket, if you look at the ticket as a package, right? Whatever the party secures in an election, both gentlemen, and in this case, a gentleman and a lady on that ticket, they take equal blame for it, of course. But you have to give more to the John Mahama than you give to her in terms of, because he is on the ballot when you go to vote. But he makes a point that based on her performance on the ticket in the last elections, and this is in 2020, they believe she will do far better. That's quoting the General Secretary. And I'm saying that the evidence suggests that there is momentum. She brought momentum back to the ticket. And I was making the very important cardinal strategic point when it comes to politics and elections. When you identify momentum, you don't change the factors. You keep the factors constant, which is really what John Mahama had done, because he sees the momentum, as you see here, from 2016 to 2020. They were down significantly in 2016, and that's the arrow there, down, and refreshed the ticket, brought in Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman. Of course, tragically, the party lost the Pakwesi Mr. Arthur, and they had to bring somebody else into the picture. And they brought her into the picture, and we've seen that climb, that momentum that they've had at the presidential level. Yes, they lost in the presidential elections in the central region, and this is all around the central region we're talking about, because that's their constituency. They lost there presidentially, but as the graph shows, that gap narrowed from the 2016 to 2020, and that is what you see here. That gap narrowed significantly. That is the momentum question I'm talking about. And then you see also that play out in the parliamentary also. It wasn't just a question of momentum, they flipped it. They flipped it on its head from a 19 down to 13 up, again with her on the ticket in the central region. And that fundamentally is the reason why she has been maintained this time round. You don't want to change the factors when you have momentum. And the factor in this case, one of the very important factors in this case is who your running mate is for the NDC. And John Mahama has decided that, well, I want to improve on the momentum. I want that momentum to continue. Myself, I have been maintained.
Right.
So that feeds into that momentum strategy. Why do I change my running mate is the key question. But the fundamental question that again must be asked is, JM has one term, right? JM has one term. After JM, if he wins, they will have to bring an entirely new face.
Right.
The key central question to ask, is this decision for the short term, or is JM playing the long game?
The long card.
In politics, especially when you have a term to go, you begin to think about long term if you're thinking about parties' sustainability and parties' continuity and party growth. The jury's still out. If indeed Jane Nana Opoku, because she'll be marketed for 2 terms now. In 2024, will she grow enough to be in a position to be the face of the NDC, to challenge whoever the MPP will bring? We know, regardless of what happens, the current vice president will be there or thereabout somewhat. We don't know what's going to happen, but he's going to be there or thereabout somewhat. Is Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, with the long-term future of the party in mind, the right person if you're playing the long game? That is a question that the party will have to answer. Because they coming into this, I have said that if JM wanted to play the long game, then the person that you put there as your running mate will be a signal to where you want the party to be after you.
True.
Right? And so is he telling us that he wants to give Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, being the first woman to possibly become the presidential candidate of one of the 2 main parties in 2024? Those are big questions that we'll have to analyze going forward.
All right, thank you very much, Evan. I'm sure that in the minutes and hours to come, we'll have more time to digest what we've been fed by the NDC. And of course, on Top Story, on Top Story, and of course on Newsnight, on Prime, and of course Upfront, expect to have more on this particular matter. But again, I mean, at the start of the show, we were dealing with 2 breaking stories. The death of the Member of Parliament for Ejisu in the Ashanti region, former Deputy Finance Minister John Kumah. And we are getting reaction. We are in the late MP's home here in Accra, in the constituency. But President Akufo-Addo has also been talking about, and I'm going to run through the tribute paid by the president. And he says that I'm deeply saddened by the tragic news of the sudden death of the Deputy Minister for Finance and Member of Parliament for Ejisu, Honorable John Apontua Kumah, whose untimely passing has left us bereft of a bright, energetic light in our midst. I knew him very, very well, both in my days as leader of the opposition and as president of the Republic. His warmth, humility, and genuine concern for others endeared him to me and to all who cross his path. His unwavering dedication to service, his tireless commitment to the betterment of our nation, and his profound passion for uplifting the lives of the people of Ejisu and Ghana were evident to all who had the privilege of knowing him. He was a stalwart of the New Patriotic Party in the Ejisu constituency, where he served with great enthusiasm and devotion as a member of Parliament. He was the first chief executive of the new entity I set up in my first term, the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program. He distinguished himself in that office and therefore merited his promotion to the office of Deputy Minister for Finance, where he brought not only expertise and skills, but also a deep sense of compassion and empathy to his role. His efforts were instrumental in advancing government economic agenda, ensuring that the fruit of our progress were equitably shared amongst all segments of society. He was a Ghanaian patriot per excellence. To his wife, children, family, and the New Patriotic Party in the Ejisu constituency and across the nation, and offer my deepest condolences on their great loss. May God bless him and allow his soul to rest in perfect peace in his bosom until the last day of the resurrection, where we shall all meet again. There's also another one from the Vice President, who's also the MPP's flag bearer for election 2024. And as you can see that on your screens. All right, so two very significant news today: the passing of John Kumah, and of course the nomination and acceptance of Professor Nana Jinopoko-Agyeman as the running mate for John Dramani Mahama. Evans, before you go, your final words.
It's the day when, of course, we're beginning to learn and get confirmation that the JM has appointed again the Nana Jinopoko-Agyeman. This was a day we're preparing to do a bit more analysis and just bask in the typical political seizing, and then this major tragic news then breaks of the passing of John Kumah, young, vibrant individual, 45 years old, had done quite a bit in his short life, as both an activist but somebody who paid his due to the party and to the country largely. And if you look at his record, the 7,000 jobs he's credited with, the creating of the NYEP and places that he's been, it's quite a significant loss. And I know the party is beginning to come to terms, but we don't need to forget that he leaves behind a wife and six children, and that is tragic indeed. And going forward, it's learning a bit more about this tragic outcome today for John Kumah, a deputy finance minister, and the timing of this is quite a blow for the government, to the party, especially at the time when there have been changes at the finance ministry. He's one of the stable hands there, and so that clearly is one that has left many, including ourselves here, pretty shocked by this outcome. And that's him on your screens there, John Kumah, dead today.
All right, thank you very much, Evans Mensah, head of our political desk. And folks, we are in the home of the late John Kumah in the constituency. We've also been speaking to some members of parliament. They've been sharing with us their fond memories of him, and we have more of that coming through you. We have more stories also on our website, myjoyonline.com. Stories making rounds today. But that's our show today. Tomorrow, Friday, we'll be here to bring another exciting edition of The Pulse. My name is Elton Brobe. You have a good evening.